Welcome to the Predictive Playbook. I'm your host, John Ryan, and I'm very glad to see that Ira Silver is with me on the show today because he endured Manny's Pub like a champ yesterday afternoon at 4:30. They tried to haze him a little bit, but he withstood the assault and came out really, really well. So that show's pretty much fun, Ira. And by the way, welcome to this show.
Yeah, I had a great time on show yesterday, and we got a good, nice little win with the best bet on the Islanders last night. So let's keep the momentum going.
Yeah, you bet, man. Let's get right out of here. First game tonight, 7 o'clock p.m. Nashville is traveling to take on Chicago, and I have Juice Saros in goal for Nashville and Kevin Lankinen in goal for the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, looking at the key stats, and eventually I'm going to actually have slides for these things. I just have to create a bot in Python to be able to produce them like a human would, and then I won't have to spend time creating them for an hour or whatever. But anyway, the key stats all point towards Nashville here, with the exception of three favoring Chicago, and those three are goals per game. They rank 19th. 2.761 per game, shooting percentage 9.4, opponent save percentage, all teams and all goalies, they rank 18th in this matchup. I know you've been riding Nashville here successfully, but is this going to be a game that might be a little bit tougher for Nashville to win?
No, I'm actually I'm going to ride the Nashville Predators again. We got Yusuf Saros, who hasn't been confirmed yet, but he's been playing some great hockey in the net for the Predators against Malcolm Subban for the Blackhawks. While Subban he's been pretty good as of late, but I have no faith in Subban, even though his goals against are a lot better than what he actually is. I'm going to be riding the Nashville Predators tonight. It is a 2-unit play on the Nashville Predators against the Chicago at minus 130.
Wow, we're 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the show, and we just set off the cannon on that one. 2-unit play, Nashville. That's awesome. That's the way we should start the show out every day.
Every single day, right?
Every day possible, yes. Yep. You can't have a 2-unit every day, but that's a big bet for Ira. That's like a 4.5%er for me.
I mean, listen, the Nashville Predators, they're still making that push. They've been playing very, very good hockey the last month and a half or so. So I'm going to continue to ride them. And Saros has been unquestionably top 3 goalies in the league over the last, 45 to 60 days. So I have no faith in Malcolm Subban on the other side. So I'm going to be riding the Predators here tonight.
Yeah, it's interesting. The one source I had was the other goalie, and now I'm looking at this other source, and it's Subban. Actually, the other source I'm looking at is my database. That does update on the fly.
Subban was confirmed already for the Blackhawks,
yep.
So he'll be in that tonight.
All right. So we're going to move on to the next game here, and that is Minnesota is traveling to play Arizona. Minnesota's 28-13-3. They're 11-9-3 away. Arizona is 20-21-5, and then 11-9-3 at home. We have 2 goalies going tonight, of course. Minnesota has Cam Talbot, 15-6, pretty good goals against, 2.40. But he's equally matched with Darcy Kuemper. I think I'm saying that. Kuemper, 8-8, 2 goals against is 2.47. So we have 2 goalies here combined, allowing 4.87 goals per game. Contrarian would be betting the over, but let's see what Ira has here.
Yeah, tonight I think that the Minnesota Wild is a very good bet at minus 160 against the Arizona Coyotes. While the Coyotes, are feisty, it looks like they're going to be without their best player. I'm just trying to confirm that right now. One of their best players, I should say. And that's Garland, the right winger. The right winger for the Arizona Coyotes. So without Garland in the lineup, this is a 1-unit play on the Minnesota Wild, minus 160.
That sounds good. So we have Minnesota Wild minus 160. I'm just going to write this down. And I want you to know I'm getting a whiteboard. It's going to be on the show. It'll be right, pretty much right next to you, and I'll be able to scribble with a pen what I'm doing right now. So I think that'll be a little bit more effective. That way the users in the chat room can see it, and nobody can see what I'm writing right now anyway. It doesn't do any good except for me.
Absolutely.
So 9:30 tonight, and I think this is probably the matchup I was most interested to hear your take on. San Jose, 18-22-5, 10-12 away, which isn't bad considering they're 4 games under 500 overall. They have Martin Jones, 15-12, goals against 3.19, against the Vegas Knights, which are really starting to turn it up. 32-11, 17-4 at home. Marc-Andre Fleury is in goal tonight. 2.09 goals against average. He's 20-10, and that sounds like the line score for Clayton Kershaw in the National League Cy Young award-winning year. You know what I mean? He's 20-10, 2.09. That's pretty impressive.
Yep.
So tell us who the bet is.
This is a game I'm staying away from. It looks like the San Jose Sharks are going to be starting. I can't pronounce his name. Kopfer. He's relatively new, very big unknown. And on the other side of it, I'm not going to lay $2.80 with the Vegas Golden Knights. Even though I think they roll tonight, it's really not a play for me here. This is just off the board for me as of right now, and probably won't get there on them at all.
Now, one question for you, and this just kind of popped in my head. I think you and I have talked about it. If not, it's been talked about by me on other shows too. Yeah, the Dodgers. They're the analogy here. So the Dodgers on any given week are going to be minus 250 and possibly higher. So I ran a query through the database that if you get a situation where the Dodgers, when they're favored by that much, or any team is favored by that much, and they fall behind 2-0 exact, you bet them, and it's highly successful. I'm wondering if the same thing would apply in hockey, where you do nothing pre-flop, and let's say San Jose gets out to a 1-0 lead. Would that be tempting then to take Vegas in game?
I mean, yeah, it's always tempting in that spot. You know, if San Jose's up 1-0 after the first period, you know, maybe get Vegas to win the game might be minus 150, minus 160. Then I might, you know, get down on it. But, you know, I really have a tough time with the in-game wagering. Not a tough time betting it in terms of profitability, but I just don't love the idea of live betting hockey. There's just so many variables that can happen, and one goal is such a big difference maker, and it's such a key factor. Whereas, you know, basketball has a lot of points scored, so that's why live betting, there's a lot more trading going on in the marketplace, right? Where you can find a good spot. In hockey, with 2 periods left, being down 1 or 2 goals, it's tempting to take the big favorite live there, but I don't think that necessarily translates so well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's the lower scoring game, and that's why NBA for me is you know, like my Wall Street days of trading the market intraday. I'm not saying day trading, because intraday means you're building a position, much like you're building profitability over the course of a season in sports betting. But the head coach of Vegas here is 11-0 after winning their previous game in overtime. And to me, that makes a lot of sense, because they are an elite team. They win a game in overtime, the positive momentum carries over. And I think that's a pretty good stat if you like Vegas. But I agree with Ira that that's a big, big price to pay and assume the risk of minus 270. And you just don't want to do that. I think.
Yeah. I mean, if I was going to play this game in any way, shape, or form, it'd be Vegas on the puck line, minus 1.5, minus 110, or over 6 goals with Fleury being in net for the Vegas Golden Knights. And we know the Sharks can score goals at times. And with the new goalie in net for the Sharks, you know, Vegas could score 5 goals, 6 goals tonight by themselves. So I would lean the over as well, but I really have no play on this game at all.
And San Jose allows quite a few goals too by league standards, and the Vegas coach is 35-9, facing opponents who allow 3 or more goals per game. That is another big time coaching angle. But we'll pass on this, and let's move on to the 10 o'clock game. We have the Montreal Canadiens taking on the Edmonton Oilers. And I know recently you had success with betting Edmonton, who is, as everybody knows, I'm much more of an NBA, Major League Baseball, especially football, than hockey. But I'm learning a ton as I move forward with hockey, just like I am about racehorsing from Marco D'Angelo of Wager Talk, co-founder. And it's intriguing to me that Edmonton seems to be flying under the radar, or I should say skating under the radar. 27-15, 14-8 at home. Montreal is a couple games above 500, but they've played very good, apparently, on the road. And I have goalies Carey Price for the Canadiens and Mike Smith between the pipes for Edmonton. Price has a goal against average of 2.64. Mike Smith just even better at 2.30, and he's 16-4 for the season. Now that hard not to like Edmonton, I guess, right, Ira?
Well,
or am I wrong?
I will say one thing. Carey Price is not going to be starting in goal for the Canadiens tonight. It'll be Jake Allen. It's already been confirmed. Carey Price is out with an injury once again. At minus 135, it's hard not to take the Oilers here. It's very, very tempting. You're going to get Ryan Nugent-Hopkins back in the lineup after a little bit of an absence for the Edmonton Oilers, which obviously just adds more fuel to the fire for the Oilers on that first line with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl right on that power play line. So if Edmonton can stay out of the penalty box tonight, I expect a sizable win here. I expect the Oilers to roll tonight. I will be playing this for 1 unit at Edmonton minus 135.
Okay. Edmonton minus 135 is a 1 unit bet. We have Minnesota 1 unit, and the big one is 2 units on Nashville.
Correct.
That is awesome. Awesome. And I'll retweet this later on tonight, before the game starts, so that everybody can see it that way too. You want to look at a couple NBA, or do you have anything in baseball?
I'm just curious why I'm just curious. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Why are the Rays even with the Royals tonight?
That is a really good question, because
Eunice is going to be on the mound for the Royals. He has a solid this year 1.5 ERA up against Michael Wacha, 1-1 with a 4.2 ERA. So, I guess looking at first glance, it looks like, the Rays shouldn't be favored here. But the way they've been handling this season, especially, beating up on the Royals last night pretty handily, even though that game got close for a second. The Rays have won 5 games in a row here. I don't expect that to stop here tonight. I kind of like the Rays at minus 105. Any thoughts?
I would like the Rays too. I don't have anything on the game, unfortunately. The betting flows have been a little bit mixed. I'm looking at a chart that I've created. I'm beta testing it against the wagertalk.com/odds live page, and that's my favorite one because it has the Vegas books. And when you really get down to it, Pinnacle, nicknamed Penny, Westgate, South Point, Circa, you have those four. Those four basically, in my opinion, control the betting lines. The overseas books are going to follow their lead, and it's not even their lead. They're adjusting their spread based on the betting flows that they're getting from the betting community. So that's a good resource. But this one here, 51%. The money is on Tampa Bay, and 55% of the tickets. I have 2,077 tickets bet from across all these books. Bovada is at minus 115, minus 105 in favor of Kansas City there. Bookmaker is minus 102. I don't see anything here. I want to take Michael Waukke's. It seems like just yesterday he was a rookie for the Cardinals, but no longer. He's pretty much a veteran now. So Tampa Bay is clearly the better team. Kansas City's got off to a wonderful start. It's a good story, but over time, you got to take the better team here if you're going to play it. I'm going to pass.
I mean, I haven't gone down on it, but that's why I wanted to ask you about it, because I thought it was very interesting to me. I mean, the way the Rays have been playing right now, it's hard to imagine that they don't win tonight. They've been in really good form and scoring lots of runs, which is un-Ray-like, right? We're used to Rays winning 2-0, 3-1, 1-0, and now they've actually been hitting the ball. So it's just hard for me to imagine, if they keep it up, how they're going to lose this game.
Now, I'm not putting you on the spot or anything. We were chatting about the Phillies game, and I said, I was neutral on that one as well. But did you end up taking the Phillies?
I did. It's a tie game right now. Bryce Harper just hit a home run.
I have 3-1.
I don't know what game you're watching, but the end of the 7th inning, it is 5-5. Harper just homered in the bottom of the 7th.
Well, this scoreboard is obviously delayed. I have bottom of 6, 3-1.
Yeah. San Francisco, they were up. Phillies were up 4-1 and gave up a bunch of runs in the 7th inning. Ruff hit a home run, 3-run home run, and then they got another run in the 7th, made it 5-4, and then Harper just tied it up in the bottom of the 7th with a home run.
Yeah, 238 was what Harper was batting when I said usually he's out to a hot start. He's over 300 now, and in about a week. Yeah, it is. It's about 7 days.
He's at 350. He's at 357
for the season now.
That's what I see.
Yeah, well, so he's batting. He's gonna be batting like 700 over the last week.
It's crazy. But you did have we were chatting earlier when we were talking about the Phillies game. You told me you liked the Marlins. I got down 1 unit on that. They won pretty easily, 3-0. So that was good. Thanks for the little tip there. Even though I love the Marlins, so I'm always riding the Marlins. So there's a little push.
Yeah,
it's a little push, but like I hate laying that big of a price with the Marlins, like $1.55, $1.54, something like that with the Marlins. I would have played it for more if it was minus 138 or something, minus 140.
Yeah, it does feel weird to bet the Fish as a favorite, but that's your hometown team, man.
Oh, I know. They're great. I can't wait to go to a ball game. That would be fun.
Getting you to bet on the Marlins is like getting me to drink an IPA.
I got another interesting game I want to talk to you about in baseball. Maybe you have some thoughts on this one. And it's going to be 7:40 Eastern time. David Peterson, the lefty, 6.3 ERA, 1-1 this season, going up against the Cubbies and Zach Davies. Zach Davies 1-2 with over 10 ERA here. Lineup confirmed for the Cubs: Happ, Contreras, Bryant, Rizzo, Baez, Duffy, Bote, and Marisnik. Looks like right now I'm seeing the line at Mets minus 125-ish, minus 126, Cubs at plus 114, 115. Any thoughts for you on this game?
Believe it or not, I would be leaning the Cubs.
I like the Cubs.
I do too. Zach Davies, granted it's early in the season, but what I remember from the chart, and you guys in the chat room can tell me if I'm wrong, the velocity is down on the fastball. The movement is not there Um, and there might be something wrong. Like a tweak of it, of an injury, a shoulder is kind of numb because a lot of these guys don't. They might get a little nick in the shoulder, but they don't tell anybody
Right.
because they love the game so much they want to stay in it. And by this point, if they don't know their bodies well enough to actually then go tell somebody when it really hurts, then that's kind of on them.
Absolutely.
But the Cubs haven't hit the ball as well as preseason prognosticators had predicted or expected.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a pretty solid lineup for a National League team. And I say that National League team because, as you know, there's a designated hitter in the American League, and I wish they'd get rid of it. It's so refreshing to see Ohtani bat for himself, but he didn't last night. But he did in his first start. He batted second. And that would be something to change, I think. Going forward, someday they probably will, or maybe they'll really screw it up and add a DH to the National League. But the Mets, their record is much better than what they're playing. They're 7-5, but they're only scoring 3.2 runs. Batting average is 241. But anymore now, I guess the sixth or seventh best team in the league is batting 255. 15 years ago, that would have been one of the worst. So you know how I feel about this launch angle and how sick and tired I am of it. I like seeing home runs that were well hit line drives with a lot of backspin that just happened to go over the fence. And you even look at swings of Mark McGwire. It was not the uppercut that we're seeing today. And Mark McGwire could actually bat 300 and higher. When he went after the home runs, obviously the average came down, and that's typical. It's a trade-off. But it also didn't go down to 190.
Right.
And the same with all those guys of that era. Call it the steroid era or whatever. But this is like a tidbit, a meaningless tidbit. I guess it has some meaning. And I didn't know this until maybe about 5-6 years ago. At Cooperstown, the Hall of Fame has no legal connection to Major League Baseball. And their mission statement goes that they are to report the history of baseball. So why does the Hall of Fame give up such resistance to the so-called steroid era? And why don't they just create a little wing or a big wing, whatever they want to do, and document it? Because that's their mission statement. Everybody and their brother back then, you're probably too young at the time, Ira, but maybe you weren't. Everybody knew that they were juicing like crazy.
Right.
You just don't see 550-foot home runs every day. But it was rather commonplace back then. I always remember Luis Gonzalez of Arizona hit 58 bombs. I think the year before that he hit 15. And then that was the only year he ever hit more than, I think, 25. Wow. But you know what? Nobody cared. Nobody cared because we loved it as fans. It was after the strike, and it was wild to see somebody hit a home run 500 feet or more. And Sosa and McGwire were the guys that were doing it. And then, after they do that and bring baseball back, then Bud Selig gets, all righteous and crucifies these guys when he knew damn right that they were already on the juice, but he didn't call them because it would have wrecked baseball again.
Yep.
That's my little rant for today. We'll have to have a segment on the show called John's Rant. But
yeah.
And it's usually in baseball, I guess that's where my passion really is.
Yeah.
But in terms of Zach Davies, I wanted to tell you what the Mets hit against left-handed pitching, which I don't think is... It's so bad you can't even have children in the room, I don't think. Let me keep scrolling here. Against righties, they're batting 238, 3.5 runs per game, but aren't they facing a lefty tonight?
Who, the Cubs?
The Cubs are facing a lefty. The Mets are facing a righty, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Mets bullpen. your guess is as good as mine. Last 7 games, 2.65, 1.059 WHIP, 2 for 2 in save opportunities. On the road, 4.91 ERA, 1.364 WHIP, allowing 14 runs, 10 earned, which means there was quite a few errors. So it's still too early to tell which version of the Mets bullpen is going to evolve over time, but the fact that they're on the road doesn't bode well for them so far.
Yeah, I like the Cubs tonight, and then there's another baseball game. It's a head scratcher here as well. Wanted to get your thoughts, and that is going to be Ian Anderson, the righty, 4.7 ERA for the Braves, taking on the New York Yankees and Corey Kluber, 0-1, 6.1 ERA. The Braves are going to be without Acuna again. Yankees -1. What is it? 140, 138?
140.
140.
That's what I'm seeing.
Hard not to like the Yankees tonight again.
Yeah, absolutely. The Yankees. That was one that we discussed on the Manny's Pub show there at 4:45, 5 o'clock yesterday that you were on.
Exactly.
And that little query I did where, what's the history of the Yankees when they have lost 10 of their last 15 games? And it's only happened 3 times in the last. That situation has only occurred 3 times in the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, it sometimes extends longer than just simply 15 games. They might be, 7-20 at some point during that dry spell, and then all of a sudden they will recover, and they recover strong. It doesn't matter who's in the lineup or who's not. They can score runs. When they start putting hits together and getting men on base. I mean, that's what it's all about. So I think, the Yankees here, I actually had said yesterday on the show that I would probably consider betting them for the next 5 games, expecting them to go at least 4-1. And they're definitely the bet tonight too.
Yeah, I like them quite a bit. I already played them. I just played them, so I just got down on the game. I'm glad.
And the team that's really amazing, which is always dear to my heart, is the Oakland A's. Start out the season 1-7, worst start in franchise history, and doesn't Billy Beane now put something together here and they win 10 in a row?
Yeah, right now they're trailing 4-3 in the top of the third.
That run they had in 2001, was it 1? They won 20 in a row.
Crazy.
It was crazy because they actually, at a time during that season, were a very poor team. I'll say it professionally. They were just not good. Beane's job as a general manager was, supposedly on the line, if you can believe the newspapers. But they traded Carlos Pena, who ended up being a stud for a lot of years. And he was, I think they traded him the year that he was Rookie of the Year. I mean, it makes no sense, right?
It makes no sense.
And they traded one of the Phillies guys got moved to Oakland during this crazy week of trades, and it looked like. Baseball doesn't have tanking, but if there ever was a team that looked like they were going to tank, it was Oakland, and then all of a sudden they win 20 in a row out of nowhere. And I mean, they swept the Yankees in Yankee Stadium 4 straight, and no game was even close. That's why we love the game.
Yeah, no, I know it's a crazy game. This whole industry's crazy. You gotta be watching the news and looking at analytics and a bunch of other things. So it's a lot of fun, but a lot of work. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you have any basketball for me. It looks like your entire Philadelphia team is a game time decision tonight.
And that's the thing I wrote. There's a free pick article over on my profile in Sports Memo. I'll go to sportsmemo.com, look at experts, and then scroll down till you see my name and click on it. And I put in a full-blown comprehensive research report that my paying customers get, just to give you a sample of what it is. And in there, and again, this has been a theme on the Manny's Pub show every single day. And I'm going to augment it now to say that do not make a move in the NBA till 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, pretty much no matter what. There's been so many situations where Paul George comes to mind when they did play the Sixers. He was out.
I remember that.
Questionable to out.
And then he got upgraded 20 minutes before game time.
Yeah, and then he played like there was nothing wrong with him.
Yep.
And I think he score like 33 last night.
Yeah,
he had a huge night.
Yeah, no guy in the lineup last night.
But that's the part that the NBA is it's really difficult. I think the NHL actually has rules, and Ira, you would know this, where they change goalies, right? So I was reading off the morning goalie, but it seems like by noon everything is set. It doesn't have any.
Sometimes.
But as compared to the NBA, where any game that has any starting player on it that is listed on your injury report in the morning, I would recommend you just don't bet it until 6 o'clock or after Eastern Standard Time. So let me see what we got in the chat room here too, and then I'll show you what I got on the Sixers tonight. Let's see. There's Robert M. Tree. He's been on it. He's been in the chat room every single time. Guy must not play golf or something. He'd be on the show every day. Or maybe he's in his golf cart watching it. Can you recap Ira's pick on the Preds? He likes Nashville quite a bit. It's a 2 unit play.
Yep.
And that's a big bet for Ira. He has a different method, but one that I like quite a bit. I do 3, 4, 5%. So by comparison, this would be like a 4.5%er for me. If I'm doing the same thing as Ira. Let's see, who else do we have here? Yep, yeah, we covered that one. All right, we got that one. Yep, we're on the Yanks tonight there, Sports Pick Hub.
Yep, let's get it.
And jumped on your live Portland pick last night. So, Portland was actually a free pick on my pinned retweet for a free pick on the front page of my profile on Twitter. So if you retweet it, you're on the list to get a free pick. If we get 50 retweets, you get the whole card for free. So I'm trying to remember. I jumped on the live Portland pick last night. Do you remember what that was, Ira? Because you were on the show too when I was talking about it.
Don't remember.
It must have been the total.
Possibly.
But if Robert's still around, he can re-enlighten me of what I said that must have been good. In all seriousness, when I can't remember stuff like this, that means my head's on right. I'm not sulking on a loss. Like I played the Pelicans last night plus 4.5 after the 10-point run by the Nets, and of course I lose by the hook. Ira was fortunate enough to have plus 6.5, and he got the in-game cover, which is cool.
Thought they were going to blow it there again.
It was good.
Just to recap the picks for everyone who's just joined, it's Predators 2 units, Minnesota Wild 1 unit, and Edmonton Oilers 1 unit. And also, I'm going to be playing the Yankees for 1 unit as well.
And
maybe the Cubs for a half a unit. I'm not sure yet.
And very quickly, we'll do this. And then we'll call it a day and get over to Manny's Pub. So if you guys want to see a really... how would you describe the show, Ira? You were on it for the first time as one of our special drop-ins. It's different. It's fun. It's what would it be? Comedic? A comedian?
Yeah, definitely a good time.
So in this system here, we have the Sixers tonight hosting the Phoenix Suns, who are going through the gauntlet of all gauntlets. They played Milwaukee, won in overtime on the road. They now had a day of rest. They now play Philadelphia, who is rumored to be without Ben Simmons. I have not seen any updates because I just don't look anymore, because it's until 5:30. I mean, really, who cares? I mean, it's all going to be a rumor anyway. Until you get the official report at 5:30, then you can start formulating who's really playing, who's not. But I thought this morning betting the Sixers was a good move, because then all of a sudden if Simmons does play, that line's not going to be +1. And those are the situations where it can work in your favor, because there's only one outcome. The Suns don't have anybody that is on that, or maybe they'll play, maybe they don't. The Sixers have Simmons, and the line reflected Simmons being out. So anyway, here we are. Bet on home team. Betting line is within 3.5 points on your side of pick. And the host is facing an opponent that is an elite team, outscoring their opponents by at least 6 per game. And the guest, which is the Suns, is coming off 3 consecutive games in which they allowed 105 or more points in each one. Over the past 10 seasons, you can see the record 36-10 for 76%. Last 3 seasons, even better, and that reflects the increased scoring in the NBA from the 2018 season of 106.2 per game up to 111, which has been the last 3 seasons. So that's an 80% against the spread system, supporting the Philadelphia 76ers tonight. After tonight, the Suns are granted a day of rest, and then they play the Celtics. Then after that, they're given 2 days of rest, and they have to play the Brooklyn Nets. Then with no rest, they have to go from Brooklyn to Madison Square Garden to take on the Knicks, who can be very pesky at times here in the last couple of weeks. And being the 5th game and being a 3-point shooting team, I would definitely watch that game in-game. And if those 3-point shots are hitting the front of the rim, that means the legs are worn. They haven't recovered from the gauntlet. And you might have an opportunity there in-game on the Knicks once we get there. But that's not it. They return home, Ira. They have to face the Clippers, a day off, and then the Utah Jazz. So what 7-game stretch has any team ever faced? It's just brutal. But at the end of the day, we'll know where the Suns are, and who knows, they could be in first place after this road trip, and we'll all be shocked.
Yeah, that would be quite an achievement if they do.
Yeah, it would. So, recapping the NHL picks, we have 2-unit play on Nashville. That's Ira's big one. Minnesota -160, Edmonton -135. And then we have, the Sixers, or a show bet. What else? What do you have in baseball? We had
The
Yankees.
Yeah, and a half a unit on the Cubs.
And a half-unit Cubs. Very good. All right, Ira, thanks again for showing up every day like this. Ira will be on most Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Sometimes it might be a little bit earlier. Tomorrow's actually change of time. It's going to be 2:15 Eastern Standard Time, so make note of that. And that's about it. So for Ira, myself, and the Predictive Playbook, thanks for watching, and may all the wins be yours.